Let's see if that works. All right, looks like it's going. Well, welcome. My name is Suzanne Gronwald. I am the Enrollment Services Manager at River Valley Community College, and I wanted to thank you so much for joining us. We've had a lot of these sessions over the last pandemic months, and it's a different way of doing business for us, but we're so happy that we can provide this to you and hope you get something out of it today. On my left is Kirsten Ullman. She's an enrollment specialist at River Valley Community College. And on my right, which I don't know if it's on your right either, but that's Laura Hansen. She's supervisor at the Keene Academic Center. We also have a very special guest coming soon. That is going to be at the end of our session, or in a little bit, I should say, Kathy Hilliard. She's a new associate professor of respiratory therapy at River Valley Community College. And Kathy, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I'm going to hand it over to Kirsten, who has a lot to share with you tonight. So if we have anything, if anybody has any questions along the way or wants to interrupt, please feel free to do this. This is a very casual, open conversation. It's meant to be a chat. So please, if you have any questions, just stop us and we'll address them, or we can get some questions going after we have a couple breaks planned. So Kirsten?
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Suzanne, for the introduction. We'd said, for the community to imagine it like a drop-in coffee chat. So I don't know how many of you are able to drink coffee at 6:03 p.m. and still sleep, but I'm one of the fortunate few. So our plan for tonight was to go ahead and share a presentation, a PowerPoint. So I'm going to do that right now and screen share with y'all. Here we go. And just if you're having any problems at all seeing the PowerPoint, just drop a message in the chat. So this is our our first or inaugural monthly Choose Community Chat, which is intended for us to be able to, at River Valley Community College, have dialogue with the community with different themes every month. And this month is really about learning more about your community college, RVCC, as it pertains to your child, your student. I'm sure they don't love it when you call them call your children your child. Maybe too much coffee. Anyways, what we want to chat about tonight is sort of like the application process, some of the additional benefits of attending River Valley Community College, and then we can check in for questions. So with admissions, we do have rolling admissions for our non-competitive programs. So, that would include early childhood, social services, business accounting, healthcare applications, which is sort of like a pre-allied health program. A lot of our students that are wanting to take nursing or some of our other allied health programs will take the healthcare applications initially. Biological sciences, criminal justice, computer science, liberal arts, massage therapy, and phlebotomy. So those are the ones where you can pretty much apply as long as there's space in the program at any time. There's not an official deadline. And then we do have, some of our competitive programs do have admissions deadline. And some of the ones that have an admissions deadline are the nursing and the radiologic technology program. Both of those deadlines are coming up soon, but the radiologic technology deadline is December 31st. And this is every year. And that goes the same for the RN deadline. And then the LPN deadline, because the LPNs do start in the spring every year, is September 30th, right before the spring that they would start. So outside of those programs, students can really, take their time and considering what they'd like to do, without a lot of pressure to really gather a bunch of materials together in order to make an application deadline. And then a question that we get really frequently from parents and students is, what are the requirements for admission? And I'm going to pass it on to Laura, and she can take it from there.
Okay.
Thank you. So we sometimes talk about prerequisites for programming, and up on the screen here, this is right from our webpage where you go, and when you look at academics and you scroll down to which program of interest, they have these different categories. So if you just clicked on program specific requirements, you can get an idea of what would be required to complete an application with us. Some of our programs are pretty non-competitive. They're easy to get into. Business management, for example, you just apply online for free. You just certify if you've completed high school, earned your GED or high set, and boom, then you're accepted. So you'd get a letter and an email shortly thereafter. Some of the other programs, such as the nursing program you see here, they would have some TEAS testing requirements. That's basic essential skills. They need, some programs require background checks, reference forms, an observation done, perhaps out in the field. LNA training needs to be done before getting into the nursing program. So some programs do have specifics. Even in high school, if you have, kiddos in high school right now making their plan, maybe they're juniors making their senior schedule plans or what have you. We'd like to see them bone up on that algebra and take high school chemistry if possible. Biology, physics would be great. So again, take a look at what they're interested in, and it can also give you an idea of what can they take while they're still in high school that could perhaps help them with their application. Next slide. Some important dates coming up. So our spring semester starts January 19th, and we generally have 16-week semesters, except the summer is a bit shorter, actually a lot shorter. The summer semester runs May through July, but we do have some longer sciences that take an 11-week session. And then the fall semester starts August 30th, and that's again 16 weeks. We even have some mid-semester start classes. So if a student, wanted to pick up a course 8 weeks in and it's available, they can still get registered for that. We have pretty easy access to getting into classes with us. So you can get someone on the phone or email, and we can help you navigate the system. What do you need to get registered? And we do everything online right now. So it's pretty seamless. Some financial aid deadlines here is the May 1st of each year is optimal. So if your student is planning on graduating in June and wants to start in the college in the summer or fall, they can apply now with their FAFSA. So it's a good time of year to do that. If they were going to come this spring to a class, they can still file a FAFSA. They would just use the year 2021 because we're finishing up our year this spring for 21. And you can see the studentaid.gov address is there to start one. Students, again, will use their parents' taxes. 2019 will be used if they're under the age of 24. So those are some important deadlines. It's always good to apply early for financial aid, and they can communicate with you. They'll know you're out there. And again, you'd want to be in a program to be eligible for this. So working on an admissions application is a nice conjunction with that. Okay, next slide. Oh, that's you, Kirsten.
What if the child doesn't live at home and is under the age of 24?
What if, sorry, the question was?
So what if you have a child under the age of 24 that lives independently?
So, okay, they're under 24, but they live independently.
Yes.
Then they can file their own FAFSA.
Yes, but with their parents' tax information, unless they declare, there would be a separate process, and it's typically not for students that willingly live in their own place. It's more for students that don't have parents any longer that are willing to participate in that aspect of their child's life. Suzanne, I see you. What?
Well, one more little tidbit about that. If if the student is married but still under the age of 24, then they do not need their parents' financial information on that FAFSA. So.
Okay.
Wow, that was a tricky one.
That was a tricky one.
I'm sorry. Thank you. I appreciate that. Can I just, so that actually answered my question. My daughter just got married, but so just for clarity purposes, anyone underneath the age of 24, even if they moved out on their own when they turned like 18 and 19, and they no longer live there with you, and they're still under 20, like just under 24, you still have to use your parents' income. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. That was a group effort. So were you at grants, Laura? Is this one mine?
That one's yours.
Okay, so of course, a really important question to answer is, how are you going to pay for college? And of course, you know, the less loan debt that you can acquire, the better. And the good news is that, and we'll do a bit of a cost comparison later, but for New Hampshire residents or Vermonters or Massachusettsians, I'm not sure that that's correct, but we're going to go with that for now, that live within 50 miles of any River Valley campus will get in-state tuition, which is $215 per credit. You're going to want to check out our website for information about grants and scholarships. And we do have that information living very neatly under a tab header that says paying for RVCC. We do offer grants, loans, work study, and scholarships. Some of that is income-based, and the majority of it does require you have to make an application to the free federal application for free, the free application for federal student aid. It would be really nice if it was free aid, but unfortunately not. However, you can always apply for a scholarship, which is typically not necessarily contingent on income or FAFSA. So an example of a grant would be the Pell Grant, and that's something that is awarded to you when you complete a FAFSA application if you're eligible, and it is based on income. The thing about financial aid to remember, and Laura pointed this out, is it is behind. So you're actually not filing based on your current income. It's actually, by the time we roll into 2021, they're still basing it on 2019. So it is behind. If you had a significant change, that's something you could reach out to our financial aid officers, and they could sort of help you work through that, because obviously that can happen, especially in the age of COVID. We have scholarships available, and the really nice thing is we have them living in a few places actually on our website. So there's many different options. There are just under a dozen, I think, that are living on the website under scholarships, how to pay for RVCC. And then you can also click on the Award Spring application, which allows you to scroll through different scholarship options that might be applicable to you. So scholarships are typically based on, perhaps there's a skill you have. It could be merit-based, you know, so based on your academic standing. It could be from your employer, you know. So there's all sorts of different ways to pay. Right now, there was just a deadline that passed for the Gopher grant, which was a state grant for New Hampshire residents. Well, hopefully, we don't know what's going to happen yet. But, you know, there are state grants also available for sometimes through vocational rehab. So there's different options you're going to want to investigate. And if you need help with that, you can also reach out to us and we can point you in the right direction as far as finding information. So the FAFSA is something that if you have a student that's currently in school, likely they spend some time in the fall learning how to complete the FAFSA. As Laura mentioned, it does include your, as parents, tax information. There are some exceptions, again, if the student is married, or if, you know, I've worked with individuals who unfortunately were no longer, you know, they weren't able to live with their parents anymore. So outside of that, though, you would just go ahead, complete the FAFSA as per usual. What I love about this particular slide is it really does highlight how affordable our overall tuition is. So that's per year. That you're looking at on average. If you're in the nursing program, there might be, you know, a few other added costs, but that's pretty close to what you're going to pay. We're not a residential college, of course. We are a community college, so Our students obviously commute to campus, but you know, even with some other community colleges in the neighboring state, we can see that, you know, our value might trump theirs a little. Well, we know it does, but that's not the point of this. So, you know, it's about how much debt do you want to accrue? Because even with grants or scholarships, you know, ultimately, when you leave college, you don't want the type of debt that's really going to prevent you from moving forward in your life. So,
Kirsten, can I interrupt for just a sec?
yes.
If you want to go back to that slide for just a
Let
second.
me just go back.
I think it's really important to note on these numbers that this represents just the tuition and not the room and board. So if you're sending your student to a college and they're going to stay there, the room and board runs roughly between $10,000 and $14,000 or $15,000 a year, depending on the college and you know, their expenses and fees. So when you look at you know, Plymouth State, Keene State as an in-state student, if they do plan to live there, you're going to add that 10 grand at least to those price tags. So again, just looking at the value of community college.
Absolutely. And there are some states that do require you, or not states, rather, colleges that do require you to live on campus for at least the first year, if not longer. So that's a consideration as well. It's not always an option. Thanks for pointing that out, though. So another really cool thing that I've learned about since I started at RVCC this summer is, I mean, we all know and we remember if we've attended college or even just taking courses, you know, like through adult education, the textbooks can be extraordinarily expensive and they tend to change versions year over year. And so, you know, you can't, it's not like they have a lot of longevity. We have an option for students, and it's not every single class, but if you look through our course schedule, you can find classes that have a tag that says NOLO, which is no cost or low cost. So it means that you're not going to spend more than $40 on the materials that you would require in order to participate in that class, which is amazing. We do use a mix of library resources, free online materials, and open source educational resources. Some classes are able, you know, to offer that. Not every class, but it's a really nice option. It makes a huge difference in a student's overall debt. It's on to you, Miss Laura.
Okay, so this is talking about taking college classes with RVCC while you're still in high school. So this might interest some parents if their kids are still in high school, especially at the age of sophomores, juniors, and seniors. So this Bridge to College program, I don't know if you've heard about it in your school, even in charter schools, it's available to homeschoolers. Basically, your students can take college courses while they're in high school. It may or may not count towards their high school requirements. They work with their counselor on that, but they can come to campus, or if it's online with us, it's online, or if it's a hybrid. There's some real advantages to taking advantage of Bridge to College. It's a college course. It's transferable. It's a bargain. If it's a STEM course right now, the Governor's STEM Scholarship gives up to two free classes per year. And if you're talking a STEM course, that could be a 4-credit science or math or business courses. So if it's non-STEM, it's even cheaper than our regular rate. So it's $322 a class for a 3-credit class. So the student could finish that college course, perhaps get high school credit for it as well, have it in their transcript, and whether or not they attend River Valley, they have it with them. And again, we find our courses are easily transferable. And of course, if they want to come to River Valley, that's even better. So we just want to make you aware of it. We have Jerry Appel. He's our Bridge to College representative, and he works with Running Start in the high schools. So if your kids bring home information about either of those programs, pay attention, because those are invaluable, we find. And it's a great challenge for the kids, and they'll know, and their counselors will know, and you will know what type of delivery is best for them: online, hybrid, face-to-face class. And again, they can take courses at night. We don't offer weekend courses right now, but they can certainly take a summer course, and our schedule is posted right now. And I mentioned, yeah.
I was just going to add one more thing to that. I think one of the hidden benefits of early college, and early college incorporates both the Bridge to College and Running Start programs, is that it gives high school students a tremendous amount of confidence that they can do a college level course and that they are able to absorb the material and do well in it. And we find that students that have that confidence boost do really well in their first year of college, whether it's with us or with another college.
That's a good point. Yeah, I agree. Next slide. Student services. So at River Valley Community College, we have wraparound services. Now we have 3 locations: Keene Academic Center, Lebanon Academic Center, and the main campus in Claremont. We have an ACT Center in Claremont where you can get a lot of services. One of them, disability accessibility services. If your student right now has an IEP in high school, that's a conversation to have with our disabilities coordinator. Perhaps there's an accommodation needed for a class with us, and there's just some paperwork involved, and just know it exists, that we have folks that can help your student with whatever their needs are. And then we have free tutoring services. So we have drop-in math tutoring, drop-in science tutoring, and then one-on-one tutoring. Again, it's free to the students, and we ask them to take advantage of it. And right now we're doing a lot of Zoom tutoring, just due to the climate that we're in. But it also gives us more opportunities to offer tutoring at off hours, weekends, nights. So it's actually opened up an avenue for that. Phi Theta Kappa, that is our honor society for 2-year colleges. And we have another statistic coming up about the rate of enrollment in that. Student Government Association. If your student wants to get involved, they are already a member of student government once they're enrolled. So they get together monthly and they discuss what they want to do, extracurricular, what they want to do with their funds. They have a budget to work with, and they learn about governmental processes, Robert's Rules of Order. It really actually matures students beyond what you would believe. So I just highly recommend they get involved in student government, form a club. There's just a lot of perks to that. I'll talk about Career Coach briefly. On our homepage at the top right of it, I wish I had a picture, but just if your student isn't sure what they want to do, we have a career coach available in student services, and there's a little link at the top where they can take a survey, and it kind of zeroes in on, well, what majors reflect those interests on that student. So it's a good idea to explore Career Coach. There's a short version and a little more detailed version of that available. And yeah, I would highly recommend that, because then it brings them right to the major, right on our website, and it shows, oh, it looks like you're interested in business, or maybe you'd do well to go into allied health. So yeah, and there's our page. So and it's right there. Yeah, it's, oh, I'm just going to open it for us. Great.
It does take a while.
Oh,
so
yeah.
just as long as you know where it lives, and then there's, like Laura was talking about, the assessments, they're awesome.
And then it even asks, are you a veteran? And we should talk about that too, that we do have a veteran representative on campus, and we do accept the GI Bill. So if you're a veteran and have given your benefits to your child, or if your child's a veteran, just know we do have a rep on our campus that can kind of help them through that pathway too.
I would also add on this Career Coach, there are a lot of other perks like resume building and interview skills, and being able to search for jobs. We have an active job posting there. So our area employees that are looking for either student workers or graduates post their jobs right there on that Career Coach. So it's a really great tool.
Yeah. Okay, next slide. And a little statistical data for you. We do have small class sizes, a 5-to-1 student to faculty ratio. Students receiving financial aid, 86% of our students, and 46% of our students were inducted into Phi Theta Kappa, the Honor Society, in 2019. And we offer additional student support services, including counseling services through BetterHelp, and we have a food pantry at every location to help out. And we really do provide that wraparound service we talk about. So if a student's in need of, they just should come to an advisor or come to the front desk staff and just express what they're looking for, and you can usually find it. So there you go.
So what's next? We've given you all this information and lots of things to sort of think about, but let's just give you a quick overview of the process of applications. So if you wanted to start in right away, you can go ahead and submit your free application to rivervalley.edu. If you head under the admissions page, click on welcome. The link to the free application is there. You can reach out to us, and our phone number, phone contact is listed at the bottom of our webpage. You can ask to speak with an enrollment specialist. If you press 2 as your option number, you will be directed to the enrollment specialist. You can speak regarding any questions that you have. Right now, this week, we're working remotely, so we're returning voicemails that you leave, which is really important. If you want to reach us and you get our voicemail, please do leave a message. We do receive them in our emails immediately, so we're able to respond to you that way. Once you've submitted an application, maybe you've had some questions for the enrollment specialist, you will meet virtually or through phone. Your advisor will reach out and schedule an appointment so that they can help to advise you and select classes. You'd want to go ahead and submit your FAFSA and reach out to our financial aid department if you have any questions. Perhaps you are eligible for the GI Bill and you have questions. They would direct you to our specialist, but they can answer a lot of your questions as well. You want to visit our website and check out under paying for RVCC, the scholarships available, especially check out Award Spring. And then finally, we just want you to head on a path that works for you, which means that you're selecting a program that highlights your strengths. I guess the biggest thing that when I speak to students, a lot of them are concerned about, and especially if they've been out of school for a couple of years, that school will be something that is too challenging for them. And I think that being in a warm and nurturing environment, such as what we offer with the academic supports, which are, I will say, unusual, that there is such a small environment with so many supports at a community college level. We really are geared towards student success. So that's sort of our last little closing thoughts on the PowerPoint. And as I mentioned, if you do drop your information in the chat box, we'll be happy to email you a PDF version of that PowerPoint. Can everybody see, is the screen gone now, the screen share screen? Okay, right. Good. Does anybody have any questions that they would like to ask right now? You can type them into the screen, into the chat, or you can unmute yourself and ask, whichever you would prefer.
And I'll just reiterate while folks are getting their thoughts together that, we're super easy. We answer the phone, we answer the email. When we have office hours, we have appointments. We're easily accessible because, a lot of schools are going to require SATs. I know that that's been an issue this year. And so we are doing away with requiring any of that. And you can no more AccuPlacer assessments. We're just looking at high school transcripts and seeing where you're at and doing assessments that way for math. And we just want you to know that there are just folks that in all 3 locations that are available, and it's pretty quick to get things rolling. So it does not take a long time once you decide, or even if you're not sure of what to do, what major. We do have a lot of entry majors as well. So we have advisors that can sit down and say, well, you might not be sure yet, but hey, we have this healthcare application certificate that goes towards a lot of our allied health programs that you're going to hear more about tonight with respiratory. So I just wanted to put that out there.
And we do have a question. does RVCC partner with local companies for job placement, or is it direct to the career coaching job listing? Suzanne, maybe you want to take that one?
Sure. No, we definitely partner with job placement because there are so many community members, businesses that know that our RVCC graduates are a very valuable tool, especially in the allied health field, because we can't put them out fast enough, honestly. For instance, our LPN students are just graduating this month. All of them have jobs lined up, and the same with some of our other programs. They have jobs lined up before they leave campus. And I think respiratory will say the same about last year's grads. So yeah, no, it's a great relationship with many of the area employers, including like IT and other non-allied health programs. So definitely, that's a good question. Before we get to Kathy, and she's been waiting so patiently there, I did just want to say one more thing, and that is, if you're thinking about going to a four-year school and earning a bachelor's degree, and you just want to save some money by doing your first 2 years of general education with us, it is a great path, and we have agreements with all of the University System of New Hampshire colleges, including, of course, UNH, Plymouth State, Keene State, and Granite State. But in addition to that, we also have consortium agreements with other colleges. So this is a great path. Pretty much every college is going to give you the first 2 years of general education, and then you start focusing in on your major in that junior and senior year in your bachelor's degree. So a lot of our students take advantage of this. We've had some great success stories, including one of our grads last year got into Dartmouth and Wesleyan, and she chose Dartmouth, which was really kind of cool. And there she is. She's working, on her bachelor's degree right now. But so many other students will go to the state schools, UNH, Keene State, and we have some really great programs, including a math concentration, which is in our general studies area right now. But if somebody wants to go into engineering or advanced mathematics, you can start with us and really get a good head start and then transfer in. Graduates from the community college that transfer get a huge discount at the four-year school too. It's a big scholarship opportunity. So keep that in mind if you're thinking about that four-year path. All right, well,
we do have another question, Suzanne.
Sure.
And this question actually is there opportunities for high school students to do a virtual walkthrough and meet with the departments they have interest in? Well, yes, at one point there was, including in-person open houses events. Unfortunately, right now we're closed to the public for those sorts of tours. However, it doesn't mean that we can't send you a link to our YouTube channel, which does have a beautiful virtual campus tour, or that we wouldn't be happy to take you on a walk through the school, depending on how you do with walkthroughs on smartphones, as long as you are not one that gets really nauseous. But so unfortunately, I suppose the short answer would be, to my long-windedness, with lots of caffeine, remember, is that we try and do our best to sort of give you that overall feeling of what the college open house tour, which is so important and unfortunately is not really a part of our day-to-day anymore right now, in a virtual way. So we do have information videos. Suzanne is actually makes the videos and the video content for the college and produces it for many of our departments. And we can also send you a direct link to the YouTube video of a certain department area if you're interested as well. So,
and I can put I'll put the open house tour in the chat box in just a minute. So I'll get that up there.
Great.
And now, finally, we get to introduce Kathy Hilliard. She is new to River Valley Community College. She is teaching her first semester here at the college in respiratory therapy. And I hope you're having a good time and gonna see your first snowfall this weekend.
I am. So,
welcome.
Well, I'm glad to be here today, and I'm also glad to be at River Valley Community College. I'm very excited about the respiratory therapy program. Looking for as many students as we can possibly get into the program. It's going to be a little bit of revision. But I'm excited about the changes. It's a field right now that I have been doing from over 35 years, we'll say under 40. And for the first time in my career, when I say I'm a respiratory therapist, I don't get that I'm a nurse. People know what a respiratory therapist is. The demand for respiratory is incredible. At our first advisory meeting I did with the local hospitals, and there was 14 hospitals in attendance between New Hampshire and Vermont. There's over 35 openings for respiratory therapists in the state of New Hampshire alone. So we can't put out enough students. So hence why we need to really grow the program. And those are my students. And that's me over there. That is Mr. Simman. He does a lot of interesting things. We have lots of equipment. We have lots of hands-on, a lot of laboratories. It's all very excited. Yes, there I am in the corner again. And there is the lab. So I am excited. Any questions? I will be happy if anyone wants to schedule a time with me again. I will try to walk you through our lab, show you Mr. Simman. Sometimes Mr. Simman becomes Miss Simman. We never know. We laugh at our nursing counterparts because we share him some. That sometimes we come in and he does not look like Mr. Simman. But he does a lot of things, and we try to do a lot of hands-on and just grow the program. So I'm interested in sharing that with everyone. And as sad as it is that we are dealing with this pandemic, it has brought our profession, my profession, to the limelight. So, and we have great needs within the state. So I'm looking forward to growing the program and getting people interested in being a respiratory therapist. If you go on to the our website, Suzanne was nice enough to download a video from American Association of Respiratory Care that goes into specifically what a respiratory therapist is. And please watch it. You'll be very motivated, I think. So that's my little thing for tonight. Any questions?
No, Kathy, that was great. I am still looking for the virtual tour video on YouTube, so I'll get it up there in just a moment. But I do have a question just in regards to what's been happening with COVID and, you know, with the respiratory issues that many more patients have had this year. What is it like, the job market and the placement from last year? I know you weren't here last year, but I remember talking to several of the students who graduated.
Well, I will tell you that any given day, I probably get 20 emails. I can get a job right now, probably making $70 an hour. And the need is desperate across the country. I was from South Florida. The need is desperate in South Florida. It's desperate all over the country. It's sad. It's sad for nursing. It's sad for respiratory. It's sad for all the allied health, phlebotomy, everyone. I mean, we're all in this together. So the job outlook is extremely good. I don't see, even once we get this pandemic under control, the job market's always been very good. Even when I was looking back and a few years ago, there was over 25 job openings in the state of New Hampshire alone, and that's not including Vermont. So, and we are the only respiratory therapy school in the state of New Hampshire. There's one in Maine and there's one in Vermont. There are, I think, 4 or maybe 5 in Massachusetts. We are starting a clinical affiliation with Leahy Medical Center in Massachusetts. We also go starting clinical affiliations with hospitals in Vermont for those students that travel or live in Vermont. How competitive is it to get in? How many do I accept each year? Yes. Good question. Right now, we take 16, and the cap is due to our COARC certification. We are a COARC approved program, and we have to meet COARC standards, and our approval is 16. Currently, it's a rolling admission, as I said. I highly advise anyone that's interested in getting into the program to make sure they do their chemistries. They have A&P1, and the lab for A&P1 will be a prerequisite to get into the program starting next year. And the students that are applying now are being told that and being said to, get it done. And so is it competitive? Yes and no. It's probably, it's like a nursing program. It is not an easy program. It is a full-time commitment. But I suggest anyone that's interested in the sciences or in the medical profession. I never wanted to be a nurse. I love my nursing friends. I just didn't want to do that particular function in healthcare, and I have absolutely no regrets of being a respiratory therapist. So we take 16. I can say right now, if you have anyone that's interested, I'll be happy to share a video. Full-time commitment. It is 2 full days a week for the freshmen. But as you progress into the program, you're going to see 3, maybe 4 full days a week. The reason with that is because you have clinicals. And when you start those, you could possibly have 2 days a week in the classroom and then 2 days a week, 12-hour shifts at a clinical site. Right now, those are Wednesdays and Thursdays for the most part. And the reason for that is we want you and we want the student to get a full experience. And respiratory therapists work 12-hour shifts, 24 hours a day for coverage. And so that is it's a full-time commitment.
Wow. Good question.
Can you work? Yes, you can work, but I don't recommend you work full-time. Or if you do, that you have all your prerequisites done before you start.
Could I ask you to clarify? I know sometimes going through school, students take things really long to try to get through a program. And I'm sure the recommendation is that you do it straight the full 2 years back to back, and do it full time. Is there an opportunity, or is there through a program like this? I know it's harder with the nursing program. Is it the same with respiratory, that it's harder to extend that longer than that 2 years? So if they couldn't do full time, they wanted to try to do part time, is that something that they're able to do?
Not really, because one semester flows into another semester, and the knowledge from one semester builds each semester. I've told the freshmen this year, the first 6 months of the program, you're not going to really understand what you're doing until the end of the year. And some of them are getting it now. So you can't really take a break, if you know what I'm saying. It's going to be set up as fundamentals of respiratory 1, 2, 3, and 4. Right now, the courses are online. They're just going to be sort of lumped into a broader category so that one builds upon another. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And then the practicums go with that. So your first time we send the freshmen out, the goal is that they do what I call basic respiratory services. We don't throw them into the critical care environment the first time they go to a hospital, because it's a little overwhelming. So the way it's formatted is, to be truthful with you, you really can't take a break.
So for clarity purposes, you say this is a rolling admission. Does it only start then once a year? So it's not like
It starts once a year.
Okay, thank you.
And
But
Jen,
what we do is we'll take as many as we can and then let them work on their prerequisites.
Yeah.
And
that's what I was going to add too, just for Jen's purposes, is that you can start right now. You can start taking that chemistry, the anatomy and physiology one. There are other co-requisites that are non-respiratory classes that you'll need to take during the course of the time that you're in the respiratory program. But there's no reason why you couldn't take that intro to college comp or other co-requisite classes beforehand and then make it a 3-year program. So many of our students do this. And then when you're ready, you say, okay, I'm ready. I'm going to do this, I'll work maybe part-time, but do just the respiratory classes, and you'll have all the other ones out of the way.
Right.
I'm thinking about those students that are like the non-traditional student who are looking to try to get into this and are beyond the fact where they're able to be supported by a parent or maybe even a spouse, and are unable to really commit to a full-time capacity without being able to work. They need to have some type of an income.
Well, the students right now are working, but be aware it's a lot. I have some that work on Sundays, 12-hour shifts, and some of them are working actually in hospitals and other roles. or an allied health some type of way. And, they can, because if you do 12-hour shifts, say they're in that type of environment, they're basically working full time and then going to school 4 days a week.
Right.
So it's a lot.
So it's a commitment, absolutely, but it's doable.
It's
If you're
doable. If they have some of the
organized
prereqs
and
done.
driven and able to do that.
Absolutely.
And I think the other thing is when you think about the 86% of our students receiving financial aid, many of them, because of their income eligibility, are able to work part-time and have the financial aid supplement their income, because financial aid does cover things like housing and transportation as it relates to college. So, just kind of keeping that in mind. And I don't know. Yeah.
I appreciate that. And I'm just thinking that I would rather my child save that money and to continue their education thereafter, because it's only a one-time allotted amount that they can get for the course of their lifetime for that undergrad degree. So it's not like when they pay some of it back, they can get that back. So in thinking about that, I'd rather them not spend it on housing, especially if it's not a requirement of the college, and save that for continuing their education.
Absolutely.
So, but to maintain a car payment and a house and a rent and all of those things, as you're, and you've already been out in the workforce now, and so you have your own place, that's kind of a challenge. So I'm just trying to get a sense for those.
I have freshmen right now that are doing it, and taking the CROREX, in the core classes with it, and they will tell you it's a lot.
Yep.
Can it be done? Absolutely.
Great.
But they just, in full disclosure, it's a lot.
We should mention too that the median age the average age of students at the college is actually 28. So we do have a lot of non-traditional learners too.
Correct. And I have some in my program too.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I think that, just anecdotally, in the allied health programs, there's many students looking at either a second career, a career
Absolutely.
change. Maybe they didn't finish college previously. Maybe they're just starting college, but definitely a lot of non-traditional learners.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just add that, even if you don't think you're going to have the financial aid, that you don't want to take the loans right away, you should always fill out the FAFSA, because all of those scholarships that we talked about need to have a FAFSA on file. Even if you decline all of the loans and you don't get a Pell Grant, just do the FAFSA anyway, so that you're eligible for all those other scholarships. And scholarships are free money, so it's definitely.
And be aware too, if you get into nursing or respiratory or physical therapy or any of these allied health, hospitals have tuition reimbursement. I didn't pay for my bachelor's degree, and I was when I was a director, the organization I worked for paid for my degree.
While you worked for them, like you went to school?
Yes, they paid me.
But did you?
I worked full time as a director of respiratory department, and they paid for me to go to school.
Yeah. So, but you had to be an employee there first to get that. It wasn't something.
Yeah. Well, if you're a respiratory therapist, you're going to be an employee by a hospital.
But did you do your training while going to school? Is what I'm saying. Did you go to school while working?
I was young. Yes, I did. I worked part-time.
So for the hospital that gave you okay, so there's hospitals that are out there that do that then.
Correct.
They don't,
I have two students now that are not in respiratory, but working at a healthcare facility, and they're getting partial reimbursement from the healthcare facility.
But they're a current employee there. So that's where the difference is with that is, so being a current employee, and I know that the local hospitals around River Valley, almost all of them have tuition reimbursement, and they all have part-time jobs that can help support that. But you have to be an employee first before. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, but it just helps with that bachelor's degree. As far as going on, is to know that, for any of the students, if they're employed in a hospital type environment, they have reimbursement, because you sign a commitment with that organization that you work for. Mine was a 2-year commitment post finishing my degree. Otherwise, I had to pay some of it back. That wasn't an issue. I stayed another 18 years afterwards. But, but there is, so again, as far as the financial aid, just what Suzanne was saying, there are so many options out there. So.
Yeah. And I would just also reiterate that ask the employer. I mean, even McDonald's is giving scholarships to students to come to the college. And you got to know which McDonald's, but it's a pretty hefty scholarship. And it's the threshold's very low. So it doesn't hurt to ask. UPS does reimbursements. There's quite a lot of companies if you ask, and maybe that'll also steer your kiddo to where they want to work if they have a robust reimbursement policy. So it's worth the ask.
I actually am working with 2 nursing applicants that intentionally chose jobs at hospitals, just at a clerical capacity, but their intention was to go to nursing school. And so they're doing HCAP right now and working. And they, the way that the nursing deadlines work, if you get far enough ahead of it, you can do that. And typically you have to be in, with an employer for a year before they'll give you that tuition benefit. But, it's something, if you're interested in allied health, then considering a job within a health environment is probably, a really good plan, because you can plan it out. You have time to take classes.
Yeah, I have one that's a unit secretary. I have one that's doing, and they work part-time and they're doing 12-hour shifts. So some of them are trying to do 3 days a week.
For sure.
Just for the viewers, Kirsten mentioned HCAP. It's a healthcare application certificate. We get hung on our acronyms here at the college, but I just want to clarify what that was.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was a little jargony. Thank you.
It's okay.
Well, and I would add to that I often refer to HCAP or healthcare applications as pre-respiratory, pre-nursing, pre-radiology. It really is what you take before you get into your program. And so when people hear that, they understand it better. If you want to be in respiratory therapy, get into healthcare applications first, take all of those classes you're going to need to take anyway, but you can spread it out over a couple of years. So I did find the video. It's a virtual tour video, and I'm happy to show it if you guys would like to see it. It's also in the chat. It's about 3.5 minutes, so it's not that long. If you'd like me to show it.
Not hearing any dissent.
I think that's a great idea. And then we could kind of close out that way, a nice way to cap things off.
All right, well,
we'll have questions, keep submitting them.
Okay, here we go. I'm gonna go full screen.
Valley Community College. This is our main campus in Claremont, New Hampshire. We also have 2 academic centers. One in Keene, where our students attend their courses on the campus of Keene State College, and the other in Lebanon, New Hampshire. River Valley is one of 7 in the community college system of New Hampshire. We're affordable and close to home.
Hello, I'm Alfred Williams, president at River Valley Community College, and I just want to welcome you to River Valley. We have a dedicated group of faculty and staff that are here to make your educational experience successful.
When you enter the Claremont campus, you'll be greeted at the one-stop front desk. This is where all of the admissions, financial aid, registrar, and business offices are located. Because we're small and give personal attention to every one of our students, you can drop in anytime to meet with us. The Puxta Library is located just as you enter the Claremont campus. Our librarian and staff are here to help you with your research with our online River Valley Discovery Service. The digital library features an academic search engine that you can access 24/7 to find ebooks, videos, articles, and other scholarly resources. It's quiet, comfortable, and set up for your success. For health and wellness, try our treadmills designed to let you study while you exercise.
Hi everyone, I'm Morgan and I work here at the Advising Career and Transfer Center. We refer to this as the ACT or the ACT. So in this department, we have advising for general studies and liberal arts. We also have early college. Jerry is our coordinator for that program. So if you're a high school student that would like to come in and learn more about that program, he is always available to talk with you or your parents. We also have transfer services here at the ACT. So if you're interested in transferring to a four-year institution after, come see us and we'll help give you some of that information.
You'll find River Valley Community College has faculty and staff that truly care about you and your educational journey. Many students start here, earn an associate's degree, and go right to work, while others take advantage of our transfer agreements with the University System of New Hampshire and other private schools and universities. Most liberal art core courses and general education credits earned here will transfer wherever you go. Get involved while attending River Valley with our student government, clubs, and Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society. Starting your first 2 years of college close to home and at a fraction of the cost just makes sense. Thank you for joining us for this virtual tour. Get started on a degree or certificate program today by completing our free online application at rivervalley.edu and soar into your future.
Great.
So does anyone have any additional questions before we cap things off for the night?
Okay.
Sorry, sorry, my video started playing automatically, the next cue on our YouTube channel. So please go and take a look at it. There's a ton of videos on there. We had a lot of our program directors do a information video about their program. So if you have something in mind, or if you don't see what you'd like, let us know, because we're working on a bunch of others as well.
Okay. Again, if you would like to get in touch with us and have us send out a PDF on tonight's presentation, along with links to our virtual tour or any programs of interest, Kathy's contact information, if you want to learn more about the respiratory therapy program, please reach out to us at RVCC admissions@ccsnh.edu. That's RVCC admissions@ccsnh.edu. We'd love to hear from you. We hope you're all well and healthy, and thank you so much, Suzanne and Kathy and Laura and everyone else in our session for joining us tonight. We've really appreciated your time.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.